welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
I may not look like you and you me, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. What's going on there, doctor?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What a day, what a great day today is.
You too happy this morning. Kelly, what's the word?
And a great day, great day. You know, when you get up, we wake up in the morning, you know, some days it's rough, some days it's great, but today is wonderful.
Okay, anything in particular?
Well, of course, you know, working on the expo coming up in July the 18th through the 24th. And, you know, with the 350,000 people we had on last month, it was just amazing. You know, you keep hearing that word that Black people can't work together. And, man, they be rocking and rolling and having a good time. And I'm telling you, man, you know, as we build, as we get toward that 9,750, we know it's going to be some bumps in the road, but, hey, being on the road is beautiful, and I love it.
So who were some of the speakers? Anybody new?
Well, you know, we had a lot of new people that came in, and you know, we had some speakers from Philadelphia to show up, and the speakers from Philadelphia were great speakers, because what happened was, you know, we were building this thing and working on a global marketplace. And many times people don't understand that you're global, that being global is something that you can attain if, in fact, you go down the road.
What does that mean?
That means that you got to get up and you got to go down the road. You can't just sit back and relax. We had a gentleman by the name of Rex Rodriguez, who does the Harlem Bookstore. He does he does an event with over 60,000 writers and publishers and people in that business. We also had Tandra Price. Tandra Price is one of the top sales ladies in the country. She was there. Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion. And his wisdom was the wisdom of talking about how to be a champion. Vicki Lee High. And Vicki Lee High is the North Carolina business director. She deals with businesses, new businesses and old businesses, along with Shay Brown, one of the top salespeople around the country. And so we had a plethora of folk to come through this time. Then we had Lotus Richey of Lotus Richey at Nights, which is a company that does videos, that does television shows also, along with Sharon Campbell of Sharon Campbell Solutions. So the list goes on and on. But one thing that we did do this time, you know, we had a chance again to be in STEM City, USA, in their metaverse, and had one of their engineers, Bernard Key, to come in and talk about the metaverse, along with Tommy Morgan Jr. And Tommy Morgan Jr., you may have seen him in many movies out in Los Angeles, but he also showed up and showed out, along with several other great speakers. You know, it just amazes me that people continue to show up and talk about business. You know, we do it to raise scholarships for kids, but the most important thing is we do it to show our kids that there's more to life than being basketball players, singers and dancers, rappers and rump shakers. And so I'm just always excited because you get a chance to meet people all around the world.
So take me back to this, because I've heard you say this before. What's wrong with being an entertainer? My kid's very good at football, and I want him to be the next Heisman Trophy winner, or my brother tells the best jokes, and nobody can entertain a crowd like him in terms of comedy. He's world famous.
Well, you know,
Are you saying that America only wants people of color as entertainers and athletes?
let's just take a moment and look at the history of Black people once they were out of slavery. Okay, what were the most prominent jobs that we
For
were
those who were in slavery, because not all blacks were enslaved.
that is, you're absolutely right. But you look at what is pushed to our students. I'm not saying don't be an entertainer. If you're a great entertainer, be an entertainer, but be a part of the.
I'm gonna say don't be a damn entertainer, because I'm so sick of hearing the rap song with the same damn storyline. I'm gonna sell some coke. I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna have a bunch of women, and it's like, is that it? We've been singing that song for 43 years. Hip hop is about 43 years old. We've been saying the same damn thing. Or I'm gonna murk you. I'm gonna kill you, my black brother. How do you make that popular, bruh?
And the ones that are successful, Donnie, are in the 1%. You know, you get a parent.
Successful at what? Destroying your community? You're
Well,
the lead voice on how to kill your own, how to commit homicide, suicide. What
And
is
let me answer the first question.
cut me off. What would Malcolm X and Harriet Tubman say about this kind of lyrics? Check this out. Women call themselves bees now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the baddest bee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Queen Bee.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a day and time if a boy called a black woman, a black female, a bee, he would have to fight her brother, her other brother, her neighbor, and don't let the daddy catch you. But now we're calling ourselves these things. I'm all for artistic expression, but where does it end? Does it end with putting our children into the equation? Are you telling me it's okay for a 5-year-old little girl to say, I'm the baddest bee? Because kids don't do what you tell them. Kids do what they see you do.
Well, you got to let me go back to the first part to unpack the second part. The reason that I don't push that agenda, because that's the agenda that's been pushed by the mainstream against black people all over the world. It's always the negative side.
Was it pushing, or did we accept it? Because ain't nobody hold no gun on us.
Well, we don't have to hold a gun on you if you're getting 24/7 serving this information and pushing it into your head and saying to you, this is your destiny, this is who you are, and this is what you must accept. You don't.
You rappers with a 6th grade vocabulary, do me a favor. Take your ass back to school and learn some of your history. Because if you knew your history, you wouldn't be trying to emulate Italian wannabes.
Well, not only that, Donnie.
You know, we want to rename ourselves Italian. I'm Moscone. I'm Scarface. Or we want to name ourselves Spanish names. Esteban. I'm Noriega. All that's nice, but do you know your own damn history? I'm seeing black people with these Asian tattoos. Pimp, can you read Chinese? Do you know what they put on your neck? You might want to stick with the Ganyami, some Adinkra stuff out of Africa. That's safe. Could you imagine that an Asian tattoo that says, I am one dumb black man?
And at the end of the day, as you said before, it is like reverse pushing us backwards. And when I talk about the 1%, about people who are successful, those are the people that push the main media pushes that agenda on us, and we accept it sometimes. When I was doing the expo, when I first started doing the expo and doing the Olympics, I used to have kids who would ask the question, where did I get all these black people from? Well, we have always been here. The question becomes,
explain that. Explain it. They had never seen
a
black
lot of them, a lot of them had never seen the magnitude of black businesses the way that we showed those black businesses. What they had seen or heard or witnessed is, as you said, those rappers with no education. They had seen the Rolls Royces and the dollar bills flying in the air. They had seen the basketball players jumping
I
out
ain't
the
got
gym.
no problem with them getting that. I just want to know, do anybody go back to the community they come out of?
Well, you know, if you're trained to take your money and give it to a white lawyer, and that white lawyer's invest it for you, and not only that, teaches you to keep your money and not put it in the black community, that's another issue that we can talk
Let me
about.
tell you what the majors tell them young black male athletes. The first thing they tell them, get yourself a white girl. But it ain't none of my business.
Well, not only do they tell them that, you know, you have white parents who target black athletes. You have
But
athletes.
black women ain't the only one targeting the mega athlete.
Well, at the end of the day,
Down in Florida, when them cats show up on campus, the boosters already got the girls picked out that they're gonna send to you.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. But we got to change it though, Donnie. It takes people like you, it takes people like me to call it out. It takes people who understand, you know, at one point in our lives, we were headed to be a super race. And all of a sudden, in our neighborhoods, cocaine and heroin and drugs hit our neighborhoods. And more importantly, our Black Wall Streets were burned down and bombed, and urban renewal went through them. And you know, when you are building a
Don't
business,
forget the black man being chased out of the house.
without a doubt, without a doubt. But when these things happen in your community and you don't look at that and say, I want to rebuild, but you want to take your money across the street and then say that other communities are better than your community, and you don't rebuild, this is what you get. Because that $1.6 trillion is real when it comes to us being the 14th largest nation in the world. You know, not in North America, but in the world. And
I counted 13th, but hey, what's one position?
not only that,
I want you to qualify it. The 1.5, $1.6 trillion in annual disposable income that we have as 40 million black people in this country is equal to the 12th, 13th largest economy on the planet.
On the planet.
Despite racism, discrimination, redlining, firing, hiring, last one hired, first one fired, despite all of that stuff.
Despite no black men, look, and despite a lot of black men still going to prison to be slaves, in spite of many black men not getting positions of power, and despite black women getting the opportunity to run households, we still represent that money. That's why when you watch a McDonald's commercial, when you hear a commercial, you hear the same old tones. There's no black man in the home. You hear the same old tones. You know, you could be a basketball player, you can be a football player. You see the same tone, and still at the end of the day, we don't deal with that 171,000 to 14,000 wealth gap. If black people would all open up businesses right now, the wealth gap would disappear. Not only would the wealth gap disappear, black people will begin to do business with each other because those business owners would actually be in their communities. This is something that people like you, people like me have to fight against each and every day. You know, when you watch what we're doing with the 9,750 business owners that we're putting together. Everybody's talking about the metaverse and jumping into the metaverse. Black people have not even dealt with what's going on in the universe. And so that's something that has to be addressed and dealt with, not only by us, but Black people across this country. So at the end of the day, as we look at each day, somebody has to make that change. We can't keep sitting on the sidelines saying and giving those numbers and then don't do anything about those numbers. And I find a lot of times, like I said about the kids that come to the Black Business Olympics, they ask that question. Okay, where did you find that business owner from? How did they get started? And what I tell them is this, we've been started. We've been doing great things, but the narrative is not controlled by us. And sooner or later, we got to control the narrative. If you think that you have not impacted people all over the world with your show, because there are many people that don't get to see the political figures, that don't get to see the events that's going on in terms of what you share, guess what happens when they don't see that? Then they don't see themselves. They don't see how to dream. If you understood that the average age on this country right now, not on the country, in the world right now, is 31 years old. The average age in Africa is 15. The average age in Europe is 22. The average age in America is 27. Okay, where
So
are we?
That tells me we really need these rappers. We need to re-educate our rappers.
Not only re-educate our rappers, re-educate our kids, because many of them are becoming.
The kids listen to rap music. We gotta entertain. We gotta re-educate these rappers. We have to re-educate. Hold up, Mr. Kelly, Dr. Kelly. We got to re-educate the athletes. I bet you know who Kurt Flood was.
Oh, without a doubt. Denver Broncos, I believe he played for.
Kurt Flood played for the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team.
Okay.
Kurt Flood sued American baseball. He said that he did not want to be traded by the owners whenever they wanted. So Kurt Flood sued American baseball, and what came out of that was free agency. So all of these athletes, starting with baseball, starting with the black man named Kurt Flood, who's a star player of his era. He made it so they could get free agency and contracts. They wouldn't be able to get these contracts if it weren't for Kurt Flood and those handful of people that sued American baseball. The NFL followed suit next year, where I can't just trade you any old kind of way. There has to be a process. Kurt Flood stood up for the baseball players. He said, we are not slaves. So when our athletes don't know about a Kurt Flood, when they don't understand that you were not made as a tail, but as a head. If God made you a head, but you keep acting like a tail, what's going to happen?
You're going to be a tail.
You're going to be a tail. God created you to be a head, but you was too busy watching the Cartoon Network.
That's true.
You was too busy playing.
That's true.
I had this woman tell me once, I love this woman, till she said this. She said, I'll never forget it. It was like a knife being put into my heart and twisted. She said, this is a white man's world. I was like, what?
And she meant it too, I bet you.
Limited travel experiences. I've been halfway around the world. I'm telling you, the world is black and brown. It
is.
Media will have you think. I remember a young man from my community here in West Baltimore, Sandtown, took his first air flight. When he came back, he said, I didn't know there were so many white people in the world. I said, that's in the airport, son. Go out there on the land.
There you go.
Just like in the founding of this country. There's a man in this book called Esteban. He is a black man. He is Spanish.
Where can we get that book at now? Hold on.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I Am Black Wall Street. Learn how the people got to Oklahoma in the first place. They came out of Florida, 1843, Chief John Horse. We came out of Florida. I want you to know that when Trayvon Martin happened, I swore I would never go to Florida again in my life. Because I despise what George Zimmerman and the American lynching system did to Trayvon Martin. I swore I would never go down to Florida again. But I went and started doing the research, and I found out that the first people that went to Oklahoma included Chief John Horse, who was a black Seminole who fought alongside. So you had blacks and Seminoles, which were no more than runaway Indians or Indians on refugees. Seminole is not a tribe. Seminole is the wild ones. They're the ones who got away. So the blacks and the Indians hooked up down in Florida because they had people of the likes of Andrew Jackson, $20 bill Andrew, coming in and saying, oh, we're going to put those blacks in chains and we're going to put those Indians on a reservation. You ever heard of Dade County, Florida?
I used to stay in Dade County, Florida.
But did you know that Dade got his ass whipped? He went down there messing with them black Indians and them black people. And Dade is like General Custer down there in Florida. They whooped his hind parts for trying to bring them drama. Dade ain't no hero. Dade got his hind parts whipped. Did you see Tank Davis hit that guy Romello with that left hook so fast? That's how Dade got banged in the mouth down there in Florida. What I'm saying is Florida was a battleground. Did you know there was a place in Florida called Negro Fort? See, we don't know our damn history. There's a place in Florida still now called Negro Fort. See, Florida, you got to get the book.
Got to get the book. You got to get the book.
Florida, if you were a slave in Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and you made it to Florida, you could get your freedom. They never told you that in American history. If you made it to Florida, you'd be free. That's why there's this vigor, there's this strength, there's this power in the black people. Where do all of the baddest football players come from? Tell me.
Florida.
Why? Because it's hot all year, and that's all they got to do is exercise. But it's also some ancestral spirits in that land down there, including Chief John Horse, them Seminoles. The Seminoles who did not leave are called the Unconquered. They're the only Indians who would not turn over their guns to the white encroachers. Why do they want to block this type of history from the history books? Why don't they want children to know the truth? Oh, they know these little white kids going to find out the truth. They're going to find out that their parents and grandparents been lying to them. How's that going to make them feel?
Well, let's look at it like this, Donnie. That's a great question. The reason they don't want the history to be told is because you got to pull that rug up and see all that hatred that people have had for us all of those years prior. If you think about the molasses slave trade, if you think about the sugarcane slave trade, if you think about it, many people think that the slaves were old people. Most of those slaves were like 12 and 13 years old that came from Africa, and they went down to West Indies for 4 years, which means, you say you're 13, 4 years, what's that, 17? You get to America, you're 18 years old, and you spend from 18 to your natural born life is over as a slave. People always say, well, if I was back there, this would happen, or I was back there, that would. No, you wouldn't have, because at that time, in this country was participating in the most vile, in the most hatred, humanistic activity ever to man. And nobody want to talk about the Egyptians, or as I say, the ancient Egyptians that was here 7,000 years before the Romans and the Greeks had their first alphabet. Well, they won't talk about these things because then it says that black people were smarter than everybody. not just smarter than everybody, but was here before everybody. And so again, when you start talking about why we don't have our history told, why our kids don't stand on our shoulders, it's because it's an intent to keep us from being the great people that we are.
You know what gets me? With all due respect to church, how do black people know more about what Jesus was doing than their own ancestors in this country? Because we've been in this country 250 years. How do we know about Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Ezekiel, all black people? I guess it's because that's what we pay attention to, right?
Well, the reason is because you got to really look at what happened with religion after slavery.
Oh, once it left Africa and fell into the Greek hands, that was ball game. The first thing you notice is that Jesus, clearly a black man, all of a sudden, Jesus got a new hairdo, new complexion. This was around 325 AD.
Well,
the Nicene Council, the Ethiopian bishops went to one of them conferences, and it's like, we ain't going back. Now, I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
Come on.
Now that Easter and all of that out the way, do we know what we really believe?
Now, Donnie, that is the question.
Is everything we believe was somebody shoved down our throats? Because when I watch Amistad, they don't talk about it in this country. When the movie Amistad first come on, or somewhere in the middle, I saw Muslims prostrating on the Amistad. But you let American history tell you all we've ever known is Christianity. And that's all bogus, because if you know your history, Columbus stole a ship in 1492 to come over here. But he had a pilot, he had a navigator, Pedro Nino Alonso, black man. Why did he have to get Pedro to show him how to get here?
Because Pedro probably already known.
Pedro been coming here all along.
But go back to that.
The audacity.
But let's go back.
Ignorant historians to even suggest that this rapist, perpetuator of genocide, Christopher Columbus, was anything other than a piece of crap.
But let's go back for a moment.
It's despicable.
Let me answer that other question, because this one is major. You said, why do we know so much about all of this religion? And I wanted to talk a little bit about.
We don't know about our own history in this country.
But let me
200 years, 340 years.
Let me tell you why. Because black people after slavery turned religion into a culture. We turned it into a culture. Think about it for a moment. What did your grandmama tell you to do? What did your mother tell you to do? Let's go to church, and let's be in church all day, all day, all day, all day, all day.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my daddy told me. He told me why my granddaddy had to leave South Carolina. He said he pulled out one of them ions on one of them pilgrims that tried to bring him some drama.
Well,
then I come to find out that my granddaddy wasn't the only one that had to pop a cap in a pilgrim.
But you're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear that information, because many people, for fear of what somebody's going to say, fear of what somebody's going to do.
Man, we tired of living. I'm tired of living in fear. My brothers and sisters out here dying left and right in the streets of Baltimore because of that same foolishness, fear. I'll be damned. I ain't living in fear. Harriet Tubman told you, give me liberty, give me death. I'm not living on my knees. Denmark Vesey showed us that. Toussaint Louverture showed us that. Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Nanny the Maroon Queen in Jamaica, Zumbi in Brazil, King Bayano down there in Venezuela. What we don't know is slavery was going on in South America at least 100 years before it happened in North America.
And the other thing, the other guy you didn't mention was Marcus Mosier Garvey, who who was not trying to take people back to Africa, but were working to show people, black people all over the world in their glory. Nobody wanted to talk about him. Everybody wanted to talk about everybody else. But when he started getting those ships together, what happened? White people came in and destroyed those ships. And then he never made it out of America. Hold on. He never made it out of America and ended up in a prison in Atlanta. Come on now.
He was the organizer of the largest group of black people in the world. But we're so busy trying to be accepted. And that's the thing that troubles me, worries me, concerns me about the rappers. When I see Rick Ross' fat ass on a video, it's like, come on, dog. First of all, okay, you got the money, but other than the money, come on now. Okay, so you got the money. Then what you rapping about? Because I know you're big fat, but you're not having sex with all of them women. At some point, the physical pleasures get old. When are you gonna build a school, brother? Mary McLeod Bethune built the Daytona School down in Florida. Is LeBron James the only entertainer with some money, with some common sense?
Well, that is one of the reasons that we do the Olympics, so that we can
share. You do like LeBron James, don't you?
I like. I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate.
You hating on LeBron?
No, I'm not hating on any man. That's the first thing. I am not gonna sit here and celebrate anyone.
You know LeBron, one of the greatest players ever.
Well, he's in my. That's your estimation. My estimation, he's an average ball player. That's just my estimation.
He ain't average, man.
He's lost more. Well, if you want to have that conversation, he's lost more than he's won. If we're gonna say championship, hold on. If we're gonna talk about championships, and that's the only way that we can talk about guys on his level, he is a champion. But when you start talking about
Muhammad Ali, when I think of Muhammad Ali, I think of his give back. When they buried Muhammad Ali was the type of brother, the type of king, the type of man. He could be in any city on earth and make a phone call. Assalamu alaikum. That's power. You in Chicago, pick up the phone. There's a brother from Baltimore who was one of his pallbearers, Brother Sophia Robb.
Mm-hmm.
That's how connected Muhammad Ali was. He knew a Sophia Robb, who's a dynamic leader, business leader in our community. He knows Sophia Robb's all over the world. But also, when Muhammad Ali would come and talk to you, he would shake everybody's hands. How many of these athletes, first of all, they need bodyguards. Muhammad Ali ain't running around with no bodyguard. Muhammad Ali wasn't running around with no bodyguard and wasn't worried about nobody kidnapping him.
Well, not only that, Donnie, when you ask
you can't be a leader of the people if you're afraid of the people. Remember when Muhammad Ali went to Africa to fight the Rumble in the Jungle?
Yes.
He got to Africa a couple weeks earlier. What was he doing? Was he training in Africa? He probably was doing some training, but Muhammad Ali was over there connecting with the people.
And again, we go back to glorifying these athletes. I'm just not one to glorify these athletes.
He was more than an athlete. He was the greatest.
No. I'm not talking about Ali, because Ali did really change this world.
LeBron is giving back more than most basketball players, has he not?
Yeah, he changed the world. I'm not talking about it. I'm just saying that one of the things that I work at and work very hard at is showing people like John Drew. I want to show our black people other folk who made the change. We're sitting here right now with the light. Everybody want to talk about Thomas Edison, but nobody want to talk about the black man that did the element in the light. I want to talk about the stoplight. Everybody was driving these cars around town. Nobody talked.
He did the filament in the light bulb.
Yes, sir. Nobody wants to talk about the black man that created the stoplight while everybody was riding around. Nobody want to talk about all our black greatness We want to talk about this basketball player. We want to talk about this entertainer, this rapper. In my mind, I want our kids to know that we are great now. Now we're not great in the past. We are great right now. And we can control our destiny if we stand up and show up. That's what I want to continue to push. And I get it. I get it. LeBron was good or is good. Okay.
I ain't even talking about
hold on. You said what you said.
You mischaracterized it. I said his give back is better than most.
I can agree with his give back is better than most. But
I don't care about his athletic ability. I'm talking about his give back. Hold up. That's your second warning. LeBron is still married to his high school sweetheart. Let's start with that right there.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball players have a reputation of being a hoe.
Well, you want me to say I can't defend that because I know that's what it is.
Okay. So for that man to be married to that woman, that's more of an example than Barack and Michelle.
I can't go that far.
Why not?
Because I can't.
He's still giving back.
I don't know what's in that.
I ain't heard from Barack Obama and what's that initiative? My Brother's Keeper. I ain't heard another damn word about it. I'm starting to think Barack Obama was just blowing smoke up our butts.
I can't say what these people are doing. I think one of the
things I'll be damned. You can't come and usurp the television and you got rappers showing up at the White House. You're supposed to be relevant because there are people like Nipsey Hussle with not as many resources who are even more relevant. So if you got the presidential platform, you're supposed to be James Brown bad, not just for 4 years or 8 years, the rest of your life.
Well, when you look at all of the presidents, and I don't know, and that's a very good phrase, but when you look at all the presidents and they leave office.
We talking about them. We talking about Barack.
Hold on. Let me talk
Obama.
Let me talk about what happens when you have a president that's in office and that president leaves office and you have another president that's in office. Okay.
Jimmy Carter has been relevant in Sandtown, where I live at, since he left office because of habitat.
And he's been relevant in Sandtown because that's where he put.
Not just Sandtown, all over.
Yeah, but that's where he puts his energies. But you don't see Jimmy Carter jumping up talking
God
about.
Damn it! I'm tired of hearing these excuses. You said you're gonna represent black people. You didn't say you needed a break. You didn't say you was doing it part-time. You came out, I'm for you. Power to the people. Now I'm hearing excuses. My daddy said I was dating this girl once to say, you want it till you get it, then you get it, you don't want it.
Yep. Woo. Daddy was telling the truth.
Do we really want to be free?
Well, we jump back to talking about the religion deal.
I'll take that as a no.
I'm taking it as somebody's got to continue to do what you're doing to change people's mindset, because many people who say they want to be free don't do free things. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not entrepreneurs. They're
I
not.
Ask you a question. You're a smart man.
Some days.
You're humble. Michael Eric Dyson. You ever heard of him?
Of course. He taught right here at North Carolina Central University when I was in school. Go ahead.
What's wrong with him?
I can't say what's wrong with that, man.
Anybody go around hating on Martin Luther King need their hind parts whipped.
Well, Martin Luther King. Hold on, let me get to that. You're not going.
Martin took a bullet for black people. What did Michael Eric Dyson do? But spit on every mic that he come across.
Okay, but
what did he do for black people?
Let me talk about
walk real fast and overtalk people that sound familiar.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad you said that. Let's look at what Martin King said before he died. Martin Luther King said before he died that he feared he had led his black people into the jaws of hell. Now, what did he mean by that? Remember, until Martin Luther King did the Montgomery bus boycott, Martin Luther King was doing eloquent speeches all over the world. He got shot because he stopped the flow of money in this country. But the reason he said he felt he led his people into the jaws of hell is because black people abandoned their blackness and decided that integration was the way of life for black people. Black people stopped serving each other and selling to each other and decided that the white ice was better on Martin Luther King's watch. Many of your ministers didn't like the fact that that happened. A lot of black people, hold on. A lot of black people didn't like that happened. But even Martin Luther King himself said it. In the end, he said that he felt he led his black people down the wrong road. So you can say whatever you want to say about Martin, and I don't hate on Martin King.
What did he mean?
He meant that
Integration
black people took their culture and decided that the white culture was what they needed to be. And they abandoned, not only did they abandon black businesses, not only did they abandon black families, not only everything that we see today, whether we like it or not, was put in play because of integration. If black people had stuck together and did what they was continually doing, wait a minute, this is my opinion. This is my opinion.
Oh, they stick together when they drop a bomb on all of y'all while you're sleeping.
Well, if they had stuck together and fought back, we would be in a better situation.
Are you saying Oklahoma didn't fight back?
I'm saying that.
You're not saying that.
No. I'm not saying they didn't fight back. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we moved the needle in all the black Wall Streets all over this world. We moved the needle from being entrepreneurs to being consumers. I will say that. That's not going to change. We talked about that earlier. That $1.6 trillion is not about us being black business owners. It's about us being black consumers because we followed the template. Remember, what was the template at that time? You had Malcolm, you had Martin. Malcolm said it by any means necessary. Martin said, let's work together. What did we get out the deal? What did we get out the deal, Donnie?
2 bullets and our greatest leaders.
Yeah, but what did we really get out the deal? Here we go. 400 years later, what did we get out the deal? We got tricked into leaving. There you go. We got consumerism. That's what we got. You know, we was headed up that ladder of being great race. How did our kids do Latin? Okay, how did they learn Latin? How did they write? How did they know different languages? How did we begin to build this great country? And all of a sudden now, what are we? Rappers and basketball players. What are we now? In prison. Okay, so let's not say that Martin Luther King was this. Hold on, I'm not saying he wasn't a great man. Let's not say that Eric Dyson hates on Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King was not a great black man. He was.
What had Michael Eric Dyson ever done that even gives him the right to criticize Martin Luther King?
He was born a black man with an opinion. You cannot take that opinion from any black man.
We heard his opinion. Martin took a bullet.
Now you can say Martin took a bullet, but why did Martin
took a bullet?
But why did they take the bullet? Why? We can talk about him taking it, but why did both of these men take a bullet?
Because a hateful person shot him.
Well, but why? Let's do chess. I
don't know why people are ignorant.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah, I mean the same reason people. This is a conversation, Dr. Kelly. Now I'm gonna need you to calm down. I do get to respond, don't I?
You know you get me riled up. I love it. Listen, Donnie, let's just do some chess for a moment, okay? Let's imagine.
I just want Michael Eric Dyson to shut up.
Yeah, but let's imagine that Martin Luther King survived and didn't die. Okay, what kind of power would this man? Remember, he died at 25.
The young man that did the Boondocks did an episode, and he showed you exactly what happened. If Martin Luther King was alive and he woke up and it's Friday night and black people out there at the club getting tipsy, shooting each other, acting up, you didn't see. I want you to go check out the episode of the Boondocks with Martin Luther King.
But,
and let me answer your question. He quit Black America and moved to Canada.
Okay, but
he said, I ain't gonna be able to do
it. But if Martin never gets shot, and right now, remember in his day, he had control the wealth of America being moved because we stopped riding those buses for 18 months. Now think about it for a moment. If he survives and he has that kind of power to say to black people, let's support this black person, let's support that black person, let's support each other, then this world is a better place and a different world. And the people who run this world are not able to run this world the way that they've been running this world. They don't
run this world. They might control the market. God runs this world. No man alive can make that sun or moon come up. It says it in the book of Psalms. Whom shall I fear? They can't make one butterfly. They don't control nothing. They think they control something. The Almighty controls everything.
And
we think they control. You know, this is like the dope man. You know, he bad. He until his grandson becomes a dope fiend. What do you really control? If you study the human body, you barely control your own body. If that gets out of place one hair, your whole body is off. So people who think they run something, people who think this is a white man's world, a Chinese man's world, an African, this is God's world. And it's for whomever goes out there and applies themselves and creates good energy and good karma. His seed will last forever. Secondly, people of God, stop letting these people with no faith. Stop letting these people who don't acknowledge God tell you what you should be acknowledging. 1 minute is Father's Day. 1 minute is Father's Day. That's it. Mother's Day, Father's Day. And now we're starting to see a blurring, literally, of the colors. People of God went to stand up and put down foolishness and put it in its place. Because if you don't, we're going to all get consumed by the foolishness. Could you bring foolishness in your grandma's house?
No,
never. All.
Never.
At all. And that's what it feels like. Grandma's house, like grandma done died, and now cousin Bobo trying to bring some Twinkies up in the house. Pimp, stop right there. We not doing that in grandma's house. You do that around the corner, down the street with your friends, but not in grandma's house.
But Donnie, who controls that narrative?
We do.
Well, we don't. We don't control that.
You don't.
No,
in this house, I control the narrative.
I'm not talking about
I got a German Shepherd to back me up.
I'm not saying in your house. I am talking about the narrative that our young people get each and every day about who they are.
It should be the parents.
And when the parent is a grandmother and they 28 or 29, who controls the narrative in their house? That is the problem.
The rap music.
Yeah, that's what
Instagram.
There you go. That's what I keep saying.
Stop paying the phone bill. Cut the phone off.
Yeah, but it's easy said than done.
Cut the phone off.
You're sitting here preaching to the choir.
Cut the phone off. Take the phone.
Guess where the choir at the new grandma's house?
What my mother said. One of the big. I'm gonna tell you what. My mother was real smooth with. About 15, she come handing me this. What's that? It's a bill. You gonna pay this bill? You gonna pay this bill?
That's real.
She acclimated me. Oh, life ain't just about you getting a little Baltimore summer court job, getting your little check, running up to Mondom and getting a pair of Jordache jeans, a pair of Giorgio Brutinis, and
I don't know nothing about that.
Had to get the alligator. Did you know the alligator was created by a black man? Lacoste was a black man. We didn't even know that. We don't even know history.
It was a whole lot of stuff we didn't know, because at the end of the day,
alligator is a black man.
We are bombarded with somebody else's information.
Considering they try to make black people alligator bait down there in Florida, I don't think white people are going to be getting away with selling alligators. Check out my video on YouTube, alligator bait.
When is your next Black Wall Street?
This Saturday.
Awards.
This Saturday.
Where's it going to be at?
401 North Howard Street. This is our 20th year in business, BeMoreNews.com. This is our 11th year of the awards. We started in 2011. Have I introduced you to Peggy Morris?
Not yet, but I want to say something personally about you, if I can. I think that when it comes to knowing people, to talking to people around the globe, you do a fantastic job. I think many people don't understand why Be More News is important. While we've sat here and we had conversations and we've had what I call banter back and forth, just like in the barbershops, at least we're having conversation about building. At least we're having conversations about brilliance. At least we're having conversations about history and the shoulders that we're able to stand on. And this is something that our community needs, not only in Baltimore, but all over the world. You talk about 20 years of being in business, and then you talk about the 11 years of giving out the awards. We need more people like you to make sure that these things happen, because all over this country is hurting. Black people are doing things to themselves and against themselves, and they are not growing. And when we don't have programs like this, they don't get an opportunity to see two black men, to have two different opinions, but still having an opinion of leadership and an opinion of.
We agree. You just got to stop hating on LeBron.
I'm not hating on the brother. You just don't shoot the last shot when the game is on the line.
About the shot, man. I'm talking about his give back. We got all these athletes who don't give back to the very recreation center, very football program that produced them. What stupidity is that? And then you get parents come on, oh, my son, a star athlete. I don't care about your son being no star athlete.
That is what I keep saying.
I've seen a long line of star athletes that never even come back to the country. Good riddance, you and your son. Just don't come back. And don't come to the high school reunion playing like
everything's all right, right? Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing, man? How you doing? Yeah, man, remember when I gave him 40? Yeah, I gave him 40 that night.
Well, let's get to that. I want to say this. We get so caught up in sports. You got 60-year-old black men running around with 40-year-old memories of the shot they shot when they was 20.
And never done anything else but that. Never. And when you say something to them, the first thing they say is,
don't you remember 1979 when I made that shot?
And that's been their whole life. That's been their whole life.
That's the danger of sports.
But that's the danger of all of the stuff that's given to our kids each and every day to do with no context of how to do anything with it.
A parent told me the other day, I've given my child this. I've given my child that. I've given my child this, and that.
Time out,
pimp. You gave it to him? You didn't make him work for it?
Therein lies the problem.
Oh, you gave it to him.
And then those 18, let's remember, those 18 years that you groomed him to be an athlete, think about it. What else did you do? What else did you do with your life? What did you do with your life those 18 years that you groomed him to be a basketball player, and then he ran out there on that court and tore that knee up? Now where we going? What we doing now? Where
We
we
gotta
going?
go back. We gotta go back and get the GED.
There you go. And those 18 years,
he can't spell.
and those 18 years were wasted years where you could have been building an empire. I'll be honest with you. I got to give LeBron James not one, but I give him many credits. He took that young boy in his camp and told that boy to go to school to become an agent and let him handle all his business. It won't no white kid.
Imagine if we did that.
Rich Paul and the crew was a part of his childhood friends that he took with him. You cannot take that from LeBron. I'm not hating on LeBron. I'm saying that the institution of sports is pushing our kids' mouths in a way where they don't understand what they're getting into. And by the time they get into
a white girl and took all their money. So there you go. There you go. Magic. Give Magic credit. Magic showed athletes how to have a career and a life after basketball. Starbucks coffee, a series of restaurants and other investments. He's come to Baltimore, the theaters, the movies. We need that illuminated. But now let me tell you what I don't need to see a whole lot of.
And you know we got 2 minutes now.
I don't need to see a whole lot of black sportscasters that come on there acting like a goddamn clown.
I didn't know we could cuss like that on this show, but you're telling the truth because many of them are just doing it to get a check, and they're saying what they are told to say on TV to get that check.
Why don't we have our own network? Why don't we have our own basketball league? If we knew the history of the Negro leagues, I told you about Kurt Flood, how he was a lead proponent of free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But that's after the Negro leagues were compromised and taken advantage of.
And who controlled the narrative for the Negro League? Who controlled the narrative for all these things? We're not controlling the narrative. That's why I'm fighting for each and every day is for us to control
we have more control than we may think.
Without a doubt. But are we controlling it?
We have more control than we might think. They don't have as much control. See, it's kind of like this governor's race. We got this one guy that's been running for governor since Harriet Tubman. He old.
Old. We talking about old.
Like cobwebs up in the attic old. And then you got this young buck running against him. I done messed the whole story up. We run out of time.
But at the end of the day, what you're basically saying is same old story, same old stuff, winning lit syndrome. All we're going to do is play the old against the young and not look at progression is what we need.
The old guy's white. I'm going with the young black guy.
We still need progress, and the young black guy is progress.
I got more hope with the young black guy. The old white guy seemed like a slave owner to me.
All day.
When I was down in the state capitol, I'm certain I saw 16 slaves with him. Right there on Main Street. On Main Street. You couldn't see the chains because they had something like wrapped around. They looked like slaves. I could have heard them singing the spiritual too. Swing low.
Sweet chariot.
I think
Doni, it's been a great one. We got to do this again, man. It's been a great one.
They have slaves in 2022. Don't they have Instagram? I threw them my smartphone with GPS directions because they look terrorized. And they wouldn't look nowhere. They just look straight. Swing low. Power to the people.
Power to the people, my brother. Have a great day and keep doing amazing things all over the world. Look forward to doing this again. You got to let me come back. I always have a good time.
You always take over the damn show. Praise the Lord, preacher. Good morning, world.
Good morning, world.